Hey everyone, my name is Perry, and welcome back to the Cassette Phase. Well, it's Monday again. It always seems to come back around way too fast, doesn't it? But I hope you all had a good weekend. Ours was great. As I mentioned last week, on Sunday we went to a baseball game and just had an awesome time. I won't go into too much detail because that's not why you're here, but I do want to share just a little bit of footage. We were in a field level suite, which was a really cool, unique way to watch a game, very close to the action. My son was able to get a ball, which he also got signed by one of the St. Louis Cardinals, so very cool there. Just a really fun, all-around family experience on Sunday. It was great. But for today's video, as you saw in the thumbnail, we're going to talk a little bit more about memories of the various sodas and pop and soft drinks that we drank as kids in the 80s and the 90s. Because for me, there's just something so nostalgic about all of that. And it's not really the taste so much, you know, I don't really drink a lot of soda these days, but it's more about the packaging, you know, the cans and the bottles, and of course the commercials. All of that stuff just brings back the memories in a big way. And I'm always watching, keeping an eye out on Marketplace for a vintage soda vending machine for my garage. You know, one with the big buttons and the big logos, maybe some wood grain on the sides, I don't know. But we're actually considering moving into a different house here in the next year or so, so I kind of need to hold off so I don't have to end up getting one and then moving it again. But I will eventually have one of those old soda machines in my garage at some point, working or not. But I'm bringing this all up again because one of my favorite sodas from back in the day was just recently re-released. Well, kinda. And I want to talk about it with you all. And even do a taste test here on the channel. Plus, as always, we've got our cassette of the day. But it's really just going to be a fun, soda-themed set of memories here in the den today. So if you're up for it, come hang out. Okay everyone, welcome back to the Ottoman and welcome back to another great day here in the den. Today we've got a little Denver the Last Dinosaur going over on the CRT. Really fun old cartoon there from the late 80s. So before we dive into our talk about our retrospective on sodas and taking a look at a re-release, we're going to do our cassette of the day. And we've actually got a double today because I wanted to include the original and the sequel. Now, before we get started, keep in mind here that we're not going for cool points here on this channel. We're going for something, really, really from the early days of childhood on today's cassette of the day. I am not too cool to talk about these types of films, as you guys know. Trust me on that. We've got two animated films here from 1985 and 1986, respectively. We've got the Care Bears movie and the Care Bears movie 2, creatively titled Care Bears movie 2. Now these, like I said, we'll talk about Rambo and Kickboxer and Bloodsport and Top Gun and all those things again soon. But for today, we're going, super innocent, super early childhood for me here. I remember renting these tapes from a couple different places. The library, where they always seem to have these types of movies for free. And then even like the grocery store. You could go into the family section of the grocery store, video rental section, and sometimes they'd even not charge you for those. Like I remember sometimes there'd be like religious tapes and like family-friendly movies that you could just, add on with your normal rentals, and they wouldn't even always charge you. But these tapes are pretty beat up, but you can't really beat this artwork, Video treasures. I mean, honestly, I hope that you guys have a week that is as carefree as the images on these tapes here. I really do. And were these basically just like extended length episodes of the cartoon series? Maybe. but they did add like some music, to these, and I think the production value went up just a little bit. A little bit better animation on the feature films here. These were released in theaters just 1 year apart. And I always liked the Care Bear cousins. I liked the lion and the Swift Heart Rabbit and some of those that they brought in. And it's interesting that this tape is a Video Treasures, but this is a little bit different over here. RCA Columbia Pictures. This is the one that's got the that spine that you've seen on so many different movies from that era. And I guess they did add, it's not just Care Bears Movie 2, they also added A New Generation. So we'll give them credit for that, but simple stuff here, Is this something that I could sit down and watch straight through? No, of course not. But is it something that I could put on a Saturday morning with my kids, make them roll their eyes, and just kind of have going in the background? Absolutely. This kind of animation to me is timeless, and some of the music and just the overall feel and vibe. Love these old tapes. So got a little bit of a double feature here for our cassette of the day today. And let's move on to the rest of the video. So we have some new friends on the channel recently, some new viewers, and welcome to you all. I hope you have a great time here. But I want to apologize to those of you who have been around a little while, who've already heard me ramble on about this subject before in previous videos. But I just like to think back to a time, a summertime, to the days before smartphones and the days before social media, to lazy summer days where you venture out to meet up with your friends, and that warm summertime air just felt different when we were kids. The neighborhood just sounded different back then. And of course, what are you and your friends going to do? You're going to ride your bikes all over that neighborhood, and you're eventually going to get thirsty. And so maybe you ride past a grocery store or the public library, or maybe the neighborhood swimming pool. Remember those? Wherever it was for you. And you see one of those tall, glowing soda vending machines with the big rectangular buttons, just standing there calling out to you like a beacon. And so what do? You ride right up to it. You drop a quarter in there and you slam that button for your favorite drink. And maybe you sit right down there on the curb and pop the top and start downing that ice cold beverage while you talk with your friends about baseball cards or Nintendo games. You've got no place else to be. Are you still with me on that? Can you see it? I hope so. We've had several talks like this on the channel over the past year, so why am I bringing it up yet again? Well, one of those sodas that was around back when we were kids was Slice. And I'm going to show you some close-up footage of this vintage Slice can right here. Now, this is one nostalgic-looking can right here. I just love the simple colors and the graphics. It just looks very 80s to me. And this was kind of meant to compete with things like Sprite and 7-Up back in the day, but with the added gimmick of adding a little bit of fruit juice, at least in those early years. But the popularity of Slice faded over the years, and it was eventually gone, replaced by things like Sierra Mist. And supposedly it was around until 2005 before it was completely discontinued, but I never saw anything from Slice past the 90s from what I can remember.
We got the juice, we got a hit, we got the blast. Sprite and 7-Up Mist. We got the juice, slice, slice.
And for the great taste of orange,
We got the juice, we got the juice, we got the blast. We got the taste,
Mandarin orange.
nobody else has. We got the juice.
In Mandarin orange Slice.
Well, Slice is back, kinda, in the form of a quote-unquote healthy soda. And I knew that this was happening a few months back. I saw the announcements for it and I was kind of excited, but we just recently started seeing them pop up in the grocery stores here in Texas. And I can tell you, right off the bat, that they did a pretty good job recreating the nostalgic retro look with this can. You know, everything from that logo to these colors. I think they did a pretty good job targeting people like me who are a sucker for nostalgic food products. And these immediately jumped off the shelf at me whenever I saw them in the grocery store and walked by. Just immediately caught my attention. So for the look, the colors, the overall presentation, I'd say that's a solid A+. But how does it taste? We're gonna find out today. So I figure we have to start with the original, right? The lemon lime. This and probably the orange, the mandarin orange slice, those are the ones I remember most, you know, from childhood. I do know that later on, like in the 90s, they came out with like they were black cans with like the orange or the pink or the green label, like a Starburst looking label. It was very 90s. I know you would probably recognize them if you saw them. If I can remember, I'll put a couple of images in here so you can see. But those were the ones that I remember taking out of the vending machine in middle school and high school. But these pretty closely resemble, kinda, the original can from '84, and then I think Mandarin Orange Slice came out a year later in 1985. So, but we've talked enough about the look. Let's see how they taste. So, supposedly less sugar. You know, some healthy elements here. They're marketing this as a health soda. So you know, it's in the. I was at Target when I found it. It was in the produce section, kind of next to all the vegetables and fruits and the other assortment of quote unquote healthy sodas. So let's see how they did on the taste for the lemon lime here. And don't worry, these are ice cold. I had them in a cooler down here, so they're actually really cold. Okay, so it's refreshing. It's definitely tastes like a lemon lime soda, but, and I'm not going to do a deep dive into the ingredients or anything like that today. I just kind of want to get a basic idea of what you guys can expect if you want to track these down yourself. But you can tell it tastes like a diet slice, which they had. That's exactly what this reminds me of, a diet slice from back in the day. You know, you can taste a little bit of artificial sweetener. I don't know if it's stevia or whatever it is, but it's not bad. You know, I would definitely drink that. And as I mentioned, I don't drink a lot of soda these days. Like I'd rather drink water, or I like the sparkling waters too, with just like a little tiny bit of flavoring in them. So things like this are going to taste really sweet to me. I can already tell though, this is less sweet than the original. You know, this doesn't taste just like a fully sweetened Sprite or 7-Up. It's a little bit more subtle. So really not bad though. All right, let's try the orange flavor. Now, when we were kids, it was Mandarin Orange Slice. I'm pretty sure they specified. So let's see how this one stacks up. You know, I liked orange soda as a kid. I remember going to McDonald's and, well, theirs was just orange drink, wasn't it? Wasn't it basically just orange high C that they would give you that was like, you could even get the refills from like the big igloo coolers sitting on the counter. Anyone else remember that? But orange soda, I remember Orange Crush. Obviously Fanta came a little bit later, I think. There was Orange Knee High down here in the South. I think Coca-Cola had one called Minute Maid Orange Soda. Remember that one with the black and orange can? And then, of course, Orange Slice. So let's see how it compares. Not bad, but not great. It's just personal preference, of course. This is subjective, obviously. We're talking about taste. This one is definitely less sweet than the lemon lime. It almost tastes like it's got actual orange juice in it, which, you know, that could be all right. That could be fine. depending on what you like. But, you know, a little bit of subtle sweetness in your healthy soda, I guess it's not a bad thing. But yeah, it just, to me, it really tastes like, you know, pulp-free orange juice with some carbonation in it. And you can still taste a little bit of sweetener. I don't know. I think I like the lemon lime better for sure. In fact, I know I do. Let's put them in order here of best to worst. So far, we've got lemon lime in first place, orange in second, and then the last one that I grabbed was strawberry. They had several others. I think they had like apple and like ginger ale, and there was one that they came out with that they didn't have at my particular store that I wish they would have. It was like a cola, just like a cola flavored, which I know they did Dr. Slice back in the day. There's a throwback for you, Dr. Slice. And I would like to try that. So if I ever find that one, maybe we'll do a part 2. But for today, we're going with the summery, fruity flavors of Slice, including strawberry here. Okay, the first thing that I noticed with this one, and keep in mind I am not a food critic whatsoever, and I'm certainly not a health food critic, but I just know what I like and what I don't. So I'm probably going to use incorrect terminology here for a second, but before I even drank it, when I popped the top, the smell that I got, like the scent, the aroma, is that the flavor notes? I don't know. It immediately hit me. And it made me think of, I had the flash of the strawberry shortcake toys, you know, the plastic scented strawberry shortcake toys, which I have a few of those over in the closet, which I'm sure surprises nobody here. But, and it also reminded me a little bit of like strawberry bubble yum or bubblicious, you know, bubble gum. It's almost that kind of strawberry flavoring. It's not it's not actual strawberry, which is fine because when you're talking about strawberry flavored sodas, it's always been the artificial strawberry. It's never been like an actual strawberry flavor, if you know what I mean. That probably makes no sense, but yeah, like strawberry bubblegum, strawberry popsicles, strawberry candy like Skittles and things like that. They all have a very distinct strawberry taste to them. That's mostly what I'm getting here, but the aftertaste, now that I'm thinking about it, with the aftertaste, there's actually a hint of actual real strawberry in here, like strawberry juice. I'm picking up on that for sure. It doesn't smell like it, but it definitely has a little bit of actual like natural strawberry flavor at the very end. Once you get past the strawberry bubble gum and you hang around for the aftertaste, then you get a little bit of actual natural strawberry flavor. And that's different. That's unique. I don't think I've never had, I just said that, I've never had a soda that tasted like the fruit that it's meant to taste like. I mean, orange is a little bit different. You know, artificial orange flavor has always been kind of close to orange in a way. But you know what I'm talking about. Like you have artificial grape flavored gum or a grape popsicle. That grape flavor doesn't taste like an actual grape. It's not even close. It's its own thing. It's like they invented an artificial grape flavor and just ran with it for years and years. And that's kind of the case with strawberry, but not here. This actually isn't bad. I would actually drink this. So it's going to be, for first place, it's going to be between these two. So let's go back to the lemon lime for a moment here. Still tastes like almost, this is the closest to the original Slice. Like it's definitely different, but it's the closest of the three to what I remember the originals tasting like. So that's not bad. And this is just so unique. But I think I'm gonna have to go lemon lime as my number 1, followed closely by the surprisingly natural flavored strawberry soda there. And then we'll wind up with orange bringing up the rear. Now, will I buy these again? I don't see it. Like I said, and that's nothing against Slice or this isn't done by Pepsi anymore either. I don't know if I mentioned that, but it's a different group that bought the the naming rights and the branding and all of that to Slice. So this isn't the company that gave us the Slice that we knew. It's something completely different. But the look of it is cool for the cans. Like, I'm going to keep the cans for sure, which is no surprise. I'm surrounded by vintage and retro soda cans that I've collected over the years. And if you're somebody who does drink a lot of soda and you're looking to replace it with something a little bit healthier, I mean, I guess you could go with this. Now, I will say $2.50 a can. I think $3 in some places. Now, you can go to Costco. They've got the I think the 8-packs of the orange and the lemon lime, so you can get them a little bit cheaper there. But yeah, if you're just going to buy the individual, and keep in mind, these are 12-ounce cans. These aren't like the tall ones. 12-ounce can, at least $2.50, maybe $3 per can in some markets. So I don't think that I'll be buying them, but I'm just happy that somebody gave us the branding again. Like I said, they're eye-catching, they're nostalgic. They gave me a reason to sit down and hang out in my den and talk about retro, vintage, nostalgic goodness with you guys, and that's always a plus. So recommend that you try. If you're somebody that likes cans and you're going to display a can like on a shelf in your garage or something, I can see it for that. But I can't say with any certainty that I recommend, substituting this for your Sprite or for your 7-Up, or replacing your Orange Crush or your Fanta with these guys here. Not at that price. And unless you're just like immune to the taste of like artificial sweeteners, and you can get past that, which I can't. I've never been able to really drink diet sodas either, for that very reason. It's just I couldn't get past the taste of, back in the day it was NutraSweet, and then we've had several different iterations over the years. I can always pick up on that stuff, even if it's natural. And when I look back at the ingredients after this video, I'll probably find out that it is it's probably like the natural version of artificial sweeteners. It's probably what they went with, being that it's a health soda. But I can just pick up on that. And I'm kind of like under the impression that if it's Friday night and the family and I have ordered pizza and we're going to sit down and watch a movie and I'm going to actually have a soda, I'm just going to have a real soda. And that's probably going to be the only one I drink that week. I don't know that I would ever be like, okay, let me go grab the healthy soda out of the fridge and drink that instead. I'd rather just do the real thing, and just in moderation, as with everything, right? But anyway, I've rambled on long enough. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the little soda can retrospective and a little taste test that we did here in the den today. And there we are. So I hope that you all enjoyed our little soda-themed trip down memory lane today. And if you did, consider subscribing. And also, don't forget to like the video, but only if you actually liked the video. But for now, and as always, relax, enjoy life, and be kind. We'll see you in the next one.